Hello, my lovelies. Happy Friday, friends. Welcome in to What About This, an extension of the Eighth and Grace podcast, where we are going to chat just enough to get us through lunch. Not an entire meal, but a bite sized snack, if you will. Think about this as a bestie convo to keep us going through the rest of our day. Are y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be a little tender and yappy. We'll be a whole ramble, just like always. Our little frenzies chats, the ones that start with, okay, wait, what about this? Somehow 30 minutes later, we're in and up with laughter, tears, and a little holy nudge. So maybe you're eating lunch, pull up a chair. If you're propping up your phone on the bathroom sink, if you're swiping on some mascara, brushing out your lashes, maybe I said brushing out. I think I did. I'm right there with you. If you're stuck in a carpool line, turn it up. If you're folding laundry, washing dishes, stirring dinner, let this be the soundtrack. Maybe you're lacing up your running shoes. Tie 'em tight and come with me. There's always one more thing to say, and this is the space for it. So we're just going to talk about it. And honestly, there is no better place to start than right here at the beginning of a new year. This is our first episode of the Eighth and Grace podcast for January 2026. I can hardly even believe that I'm saying 2026. So, what about this? I'll say Happy New Year, even though we are already a week, or like in our second week, right? This is January the 9th. We're in our second week of the new year, but still, I haven't said it to you guys yet. So, Happy New Year. I love a new year. Like, I really, really do. I love a new season. Your girl loves a fresh start, a clean page. Like, I am absolutely someone who romanticizes beginnings. New planners, new candles, new essential oil diffuser, little chemistry that I make up in there, new intentions, all of it. And everywhere you look right now, it's the same phrase. Y'all, I keep seeing this, and this is probably going to be a hot take, but the whole new year, new you thing, like, I get it. It sounds hopeful, right? And it sounds helpful, but I do not love it. It sounds motivating. But it's like we're saying we have to buy into it, right? It's like something we have to buy into. And here's my maybe. Maybe it's not a hot take. Might sound a little cringe at first, so just stay with me. What is so wrong with the old you? Right? Like, what's so wrong with the old me? Because when we say new you like that, to me, it's just quietly suggesting like something was broken with you, something needed fixing, or something wasn't enough. And that's kind of tricky because that would mean something was wrong with the you or with the me that God created in his image and called good. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying we don't need to grow. I'm not saying that we don't need to heal. I'm not saying that we don't need to change, because we do. But I want it to be something more for us, that we want to become healthier. We want to be physically healthier, mentally healthier, spiritually healthier, and emotionally healthier. Y'all know this on Fridays. This is raw, unscripted, and uncut. There's no fluff. It's just me. It's just you. So if I get stumbled up on my words, listen, if we were sitting at a coffee shop right now, I am sure that I would do that. So this is just the real on Fridays. But I want a healthier version of who I already am. That's not so bad, right? I'm all in for that phrase, but I'm not interested in treating myself like a problem I have to solve. And you shouldn't be either. So, what if this year, this is what I've been thinking? I've been writing this everywhere. I've been pondering on it. I've been mulling on it. What if this year isn't about reinventing ourselves, but about relating to ourselves differently? What if it's less new you and just more new rhythm, right? So it's the same you, just in a new rhythm. Because honestly, I'm laughing and I can hardly even say it. If I add one more thing to my life right now, we're going to need to add a few more hours into the day, into this 24 hours. And I'm laughing like I'm kidding. Kind of. I kind of am. Trying to do all the things, trying to set all the things in motion. And I'm like testing what works and testing what doesn't. And maybe you are too. But this January, I'm choosing something gentler. And I've claimed this January, I've claimed this first month. And hey, this may go into the whole first quarter, and it may be my whole year. But right now, I'm saying gentle January. And it's not because I'm weak, but because I'm paying attention. I want to move into this year soft and strong because we can be both brave and courageous. Sometimes even still a little afraid. And I think that's allowed. We're moving steady. We're not jumping both feet in. And if you are, kudos. I am all for it. I am here for you. And I would love to hear about it. But for me and for you, if you want to adopt this too, I just think that it's helping me ease into a new rhythm so much easier to take the pressure off, to take the edge off. Because I'm not rushing into my goals. Do I have goals? Have I set some? Yes. Do I have a word of the year? Absolutely. It's contentment. And I wrestled with God, and we'll talk more about that later. But I'm not trying to prove anything this year. I have nothing to prove. That's what I left behind in 2025 was I am no longer going to be apologetically me. I'm going to move unapologetically who I've been created to be. And it's about finding a rhythm that can actually hold my life, a rhythm that can actually hold your life. And once I started paying attention to that, I noticed how the year was already asking different questions. So we're moving into the second week of January. Gosh, I still, every time I say that, January 2026, I wrote the date for the first time and I looked at Dan and I was like, oh my gosh, it just hit me. 2026. Wow. That's all I can say is, can you believe it? This is actually the part of the year where everyone, I think we've all been asking these questions way before the ball ever even dropped, but we definitely have been asking them since the end of December and since the 1st of January. But like, what is our plan for the year? Are you even a New Year's planner? Like, is that a thing you do? Do you write the whole thing out? Do you plan? Or listen, I think sometimes God just crumbles those up and flies them around the room like a paper airplane anyway, because we can plan, right? But it's truly we're following his path. It's his will, over our way. But do you write goals? Do you reflect on the new year, like what you're leaving behind? Do you count the fruit of God's goodness from last year? Do you start writing the fruit that you want to count for this year? Do you pick a word? Do you like pick a word to live by for the next 365 days? Or did you decide your ins and outs? Like I know you've probably seen those everywhere. If you are on social media at all, you have seen everyone's ins and outs. Like I even have ins and outs for this year, but like what does it look like for you? And if you don't do any of those things, you can adopt them. Any of them, one of them, all of them. But whatever feels good moving forward for you not to set yourself up for failure, that's where I want you to be. So wherever you fall in that in the in between, reflect, pray, and listen. That is truly what I have been doing since the end of last year, but definitely since this new year started. And I asked God what He might be placing in my heart for the year ahead. And it wasn't as pressure. Believe me, I didn't need any more pressure, but as a posture. And honestly, my heart needed the break. I needed this break to do things this way this year because I have just felt like I have been flying by the seat of my pants. Like my world has just been stuck like in slow motion at times, and everybody else was just like spinning around me. And I had to stop that. I had to stop that noise. And a lot of it's because I was shrinking to try to fit into who I thought everyone else wanted me to be. So I'm thankful for a break. I'm thankful for a break. I think we're always all thankful for a break, right? And I'm still speaking of a break. I'm still out on our seminary break. And just saying that, I can feel my soul exhaling a little. Not that I don't love it. Listen, I love the group of women that I'm in this women's leadership cohort with at Denver Seminary. I absolutely love seminary. I love studying the word. I've done that for a long time. But honey, listen, writing papers and constantly thinking and reflecting, I just I welcome the break. That's what we'll say. And sometimes, and no, not sometimes, rest, first of all, is not laziness. Now, obviously, can we be lazy and sluggish and move slow? Yes, but I'm not talking about that. Rest is obedience. And we need that. And I think that's one of the things, especially for us as women, is we feel guilty, right? And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just speaking for me, but I feel guilty sometimes, or I did. And I would be lying if I said at times I still didn't. But that is a rhythm that I am learning more and more to lean into is rest and Sabbath and to do what God has called me to do and rest in Him. Because I'm not talking just about like laying in our bed and sleeping all the time. We can be in a rest and resting in Him and sitting at His feet and listening and being a student and still be working and moving forward, right? And that idea, that obedience, that has been reshaping how I think about ordinary things altogether. Like in the mundane, in my daily routine, truly allowing that to reshape me as obedience and to walk forward in a plan and the path that He has set before me in the race that I'm in. Because I'm not anybody else's race, right? Like I have to run my own and you have to run your own. So here's what I've been learning in this space: God doesn't rush endings and He doesn't force beginnings. That wild to say because I think a lot of times it really feels like He does, but He doesn't. Every season comes to an end and it's in His perfect timing, and it doesn't always match our timeline, but He does not rush endings and He does not force beginnings. I don't know if you're a person that ever takes notes when you listen to a podcast. I do because, right, I'm just that girl. And if you ever do, maybe I should have prefaced this before. Like, if you ever take notes during a podcast, or if you've ever even thought about it, today might be one of those days because it's going to be, it's always a ramble, right? But it's going to be a little ranty at times. And I'm probably going to say a lot of things that you may want to catch on to and hold on to too. So if you take notes today, you might want to, or not. Just listen and just enjoy listening because you can always go back and listen again. But scripture shows us that God often works between things. Have you ever thought about that? Like between promise and fulfillment, He's there. He didn't leave us there alone. He's there and He's working. Between wilderness and home, He's working and He's there. And this is one that sounds hard, but without death, there's no resurrection, right? So without something dying, without something leaving, without an ending, there wouldn't be a beginning. So He's also there and He works in that. When we think we've been buried, we really haven't sometimes. We've just been planted, and He's allowing us an opportunity to grow and for our roots to grow and for them to grow healthy. If you're a plant mama, you got that little reference and you liked it. But I just wanted to say that in between is not wasted time. It's holy ground. So if you still feel like the new year has started and you're not quite exactly where you want to go yet, or you don't feel like you are even in this second week as far along as everyone else, I just want you to know, slow down, take a deep breath. You are not rushing past the pace of His grace. This is your race. It's your race to run in His time, and it doesn't have to look like everyone else's to be authentically who you are and who you've been created to be. Not that you needed to know that from me or needed my permission to slow down, but I just want you to be obedient and not overzealous and not getting upset by expectations that haven't been met that look like someone else's expectations. Sorry about that. I had a little tickle in my throat. So I just want you to know this too, this space right where you are. I want you to embrace it because this is holy ground too. This is part of your story. He didn't stop writing your story in 2025, and He's not going to stop writing your story in 2026. It's an extension. It's a new year. It's a new pace. It's a new rhythm, but it's the same you with His same grace. And mercies are new each and every morning. That has been one of the biggest things for me. Like I repeat that to myself as a mantra all the time. And another one of my favorites is joy comes in the morning. But it does. And He didn't say which morning, right? And sometimes I have to remind myself of that too. But this year, as we continue stepping forward, one step at a time. That's all I want you to think about. One breath at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. You can plan ahead, but don't be so overzealous to get to that point. We have to get there, right? And we have to take one step at a time. So what's next for you? What's next for me? If I'm planning this, this is just my little guide. So I'm planning this for us, and my prayer is simple: obedience over performance. Because when I look at it that way, then even in my faith, I don't feel like I have to perform because there's no performance here. He just wants us to be present in our everyday, right? And we get caught up in performing when we get caught up in comparison. And that in itself is a whole word, and we'll have to go there another time. But not because I'm being less ambitious. I want you to hear me say that. I want us to be ambitious. I want us to have goals. I am a girl that has to have dreams and visions and goals, and I do plan some, even though I'm still a fly by my seat of your pants. Like, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize this, that you could be a type A person, type B mom, and walk through your days and just kind of go from here to there and be flighty and be all the things at once. But listen, when I tell you that everything doesn't have to be but, it can be and, that goes for us too. There's ands. Nothing is just a hard stop ever, really. There's not just a but, there's ands. But it's because, and it's not because I'm less ambitious. Let me say that again. Honestly, as I sit here and think about it, it's probably just the opposite. But because I'm learning that striving does not produce fruit. Striving does not produce fruit. Do you know what produces fruit? Abiding. We abide in Him because He is the vine, right? Like, we produce fruit when we're abiding and being obedient, not by striving. And I want to step only where He leads. Like, I say that every year, and this year, by George, I mean it. I only want to go where He leads. I want faith to lead me this year. And not in a cliche way, but to let the unnecessary fall away. If it is unnecessary and not serving us, can we say that it does not deserve a seat at our table? Please, yes, ma'am, and thank you, amen. To leave behind what no longer serves the call or our soul. If it is not serving you, if you felt like you needed permission, once again, here is another permission slip. And I'm writing them out today like a little meter maid. Okay. This is your permission slip. I want you to know that no longer are you going to sit in something out of obligation over obedience. Let that go. You know why? Because we are finding ourselves carrying things that were never ours to carry. Not ours to carry, much less they were never ours to even pick up, much less to carry. But we have been. Okay. Mama B just got in teaching mode for a minute. Now let's get back to podcast because y'all are my girls. And this is just a frenzy chat, right? To stop and say, what about this? And it's supposed to be a little bite sized snack on Fridays at lunchtime. But today is a whole meal, a whole entree. And sometimes it turns into that, and that's okay too. But if this resonates with you, I want you to hear me clearly. Okay. If anything that I have said to this point resonates with you at all, you are not behind, you're becoming. And I want you to really grab a hold of that. You don't have to catch up because you're not behind. And sometimes becoming shows up first in the overlooked places. In the most overlooked places, that's where you're doing your deepest work. And that's where beautiful fruit is coming from the soil that you've been tending and you didn't even realize it. So, I'm going to shift gears on us for a second. So, we've been talking about walking in obedience. Another thing that I want to talk about for obedience in our body is our sleep rhythm. Okay. Listen, I think this is one of the most overlooked places. And this shows up in our body because our mind might try to forget, but our body keeps the score. So I think one of the most overlooked places is how important our sleep rhythm is. And I've told you before that my friend Insomnia, she's not like you. She don't come over and spend the night like announced. Even if you came over unannounced and you just want to have a girls' night, let's do it. I'm all here for it. But my girl Insomnia, when she's keeping me up and I'm doing mental gymnastics and trying to calculate like how much I need for this and I need to take away from that, like, that's the part, like, I'm done. I'm done with that. So, I think that our body's keeping a score on our sleep rhythm. So, I have been trying to gently, I don't know how much gentle things that I do. I don't know how gentle I am. I kinda remind myself of a gentle giant. I'm not really that, like, tall or anything, but anyway, that didn't make sense probably to you, but it did to me. So, anyway, not in a big dramatic decision, right? But in small, ordinary rhythms, our sleep. Because whether stress and If you don't have any, hey, you can just like fast forward past this part of the podcast. If you don't have stress, please, I'll take notes. I need you to teach me how not to have any because I try not to. Anyway, screens, computer screens, phone screens, phone screens, phone screens, our phones at night, our phones at night, our phones at night. We have got to, if we have to brick them and put them away, if we have to lock them away in a drawer, blue light in our eyes at night before we go to sleep, it's more than just doom scrolling. This truly messes with our circadian rhythm and makes our body think it's not time to sleep. Okay. So that's why it's so important, even the first thing in the morning. Like if I tell you, hey, practice gratitude in the morning, or walk outside and look at the sky, or look at the sunlight, or let the light come in through your eyes, it's because a gentle sunrise, which we'll get there too, which is why I love my Hatch Restore 3, is because of that. Like that glow on my Hatch Restore 3 is holy. And so is my little sleep pattern and rhythm that I have gotten set right now. Like I'm digging it, but I just got way far ahead of myself. But blue light messes with our circadian rhythm. And if you look at that first thing in the morning, then it's like telling your body, like it gets your cortisol. It's just really not a good situation. And I could teach on that all day. And maybe I will. That's the nurse practitioner coming out in me. But so whether it's stress, screens, or if your mind is like mine and sometimes it just won't quite settle down, restless sleep has a way of touching everything: our mood, our energy, our ability to stay present, our health. Our body keeps the score. And the temptation is to treat that like another thing to fix, another problem to solve. And it's not. Okay. So I'm not saying if you aren't following a sleep rhythm, or you don't have a sleep guide, or a gentle unwind practice, like I'm not saying, oh, you're doing this all wrong. This is just a way to help you show up better for you. Okay. So it's not a problem to solve. But what if rest is actually one of the first places our obedience shows up, right? Because that goes back to He's called us to rest. We don't need permission to rest, and we don't have to earn rest. And that comes even at night. Like we don't have to feel guilty that the things that we didn't finish today, that we're going to sleep without them being finished. Guess what? There's another 24 hours tomorrow. And I can promise you that sink of dirty dishes, it's still going to be there. That basket of laundry, or if you are like me, that couch at the end of your bed laundry basket, yeah, it's still going to be there tomorrow. So I have been leaning into going to bed and waking up around the same time most days. I know. Okay. I'm not doing this perfectly because I do have issues with sleep at night and I'm working on them. And the things that I'm going to reveal to you today, I said reveal like that's some big secret. Like I have the magic sauce. I don't have the magic ingredient. I don't have a magic one, but these have been helping me. So okay, this is a hard one. Going to bed at the same time every night and trying to get up at the same time every morning. So with my Hatch Restore 3, or any alarm, it can be any sunrise alarm, it can be any alarm really. This is what I have. So this is why I'm talking about it. I don't want you to feel like you have to go out and buy one of those. It's not necessary. But I have mine set. So I think I changed it. At first I had it like 30 minutes where the sunrise would come up before um, my alarm would go off, and I think I changed it to an hour because I truly like that time in the morning, and then I have, like, different sounds that gently wake me up, and then the last thing is, like, the birds chirping because I love them. So, okay, going to bed, same time trying to wake up at the same time every morning, even on the weekends. And I know, like, don't come at me, but it's just good. It's a good rhythm to try to get into for our bodies. And that can be like a quiet act of faith, too. And it helps our body settle into a rhythm, and it gives our nervous system a sense of safety. And it gently trains our brain to know when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise. Okay. So if you think about that, your circadian rhythm, your nervous system, it tells our bodies exactly what we're supposed to be doing without us trying to force it. So we don't have to think about it like we're just adding this rigid to-do list, right? Or this another protocol or another thing somebody's adding to our plate. And it's not because we're chasing optimization, but just because consistency can it can be like a form of care. If we are consistent in caring for ourselves the way our body shows up and shows us that we need to, then we're being more effective. And care, that's obedience too. It's like saying, God, okay, I trust God. I trust you enough to stop. Hard stop. I trust him enough to rest. Hard stop. I trust that fruit grows even when I'm not striving. Hard stop. Because we're training our body to do what he designed it to do, and that's to rest and rise in a rhythm. You may have already been thinking about that, and I may have just went all in depth for nothing, but and I'm a nurse practitioner, but I had a total come to Jesus aha moment with that. You don't have to overhaul your life this week. I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, like I already am doing my own thing and she's telling me all these things. If this isn't necessary for you, listen, this can just be like entertainment. Laugh at me and be like, girl, you are crazy. But sometimes faithfulness looks like just choosing a gentler rhythm. And you can. If you want to incorporate that, you can start it tonight. And that realization for me opened the door to something else that God's been teaching me about pace. Okay. So now we're going into contentment and rhythm if you're keeping notes. Somewhere along the way, and I'm thinking maybe it was at the end of 2025, but I definitely know it's been before the ninth day of January. But I realized this year is not asking me for more effort, right? And that's the last thing any of us want to give is more effort because we feel like we are already given enough and we don't have anything else to give and we are like drained. And some of us have been burnt out and we are like burning the candle at both ends. And at Christmas, I truly was held together by a piece of tinsel and some really good thread. I'm just going to tell you, I'm still not even over Christmas. And I hate to tell y'all, I don't want y'all to think I think I'm perfect. I'll just slide this in here real quick under our contentment and rhythm real quick. My Christmas tree is still up and I'm digging it. I love the lights at night. I cannot help it. And my greens are still on my mantle. And I'll even put a story on my Instagram today. Y'all can see it. I have a blue ribbon on it, a little bird, and some flowers up there. I'm not ready to get rid of it. Brings me happiness and joy. And right now, it's all about being content. And that's where I'm at. So, anyway. I didn't do it before the first, and I don't know what the superstitious thing is if you're supposed to take it down before blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is, but I love mine, and who knows when it's gonna come down. But somewhere along the way, I realized that this year is not asking us for more effort. It's asking us for a different pace, not just slower to be slow, okay? And not passive, not checked out, not numb, okay? That is not what I'm talking about. Just at an honest pace. Just honesty, just being honest with where we are, what we can truly consume, and how we can be content in our lives moving forward. Just honest, an honest pace. Because a lot of us aren't tired from doing nothing. We're tired from doing too much and doing it while braced for impact because you stay in this fight or flight of what comes next, right? Always preparing, always anticipating. And I don't want to say that you could be one of those people that's like always anticipating the next shoe to drop. We don't need to be that. We don't have to always be anticipating what's next because we can live in this moment content where we are today, where our feet are planted. The Bible even tells us tomorrow has enough problems to worry about itself, right? We need to worry about today, not being passive, not being lazy, but just working on intentionally being present in the moment that we're in. Not always trying to stay one step ahead of what might come next. And preparation isn't bad. Hear me. Like if you're a prepper in all sense of the words, kudos. I love it. I love that for you. I wish I was more of a prepper in preparation sometimes, like staying prepared, living prepared. And we can live prepared if we're in the moment and present, but we cannot live prepared if we're overworked, overwhelmed, overstimulated, and overzealous and over anxious. And if there's any other overs to add to that, go on and add them. But you know where I'm coming from. So, preparation, it's not bad, but when preparation turns into something we carry instead of something we offer, guess what? It starts costing us and it starts costing us our peace. And it starts costing us to live overstimulated. And it starts costing us relationships, right? That one kind of went deep for a minute. But that's when our body steps in because our body is keeping score and it's holding on to what our soul was never meant to manage on its own. And once again, I want you to hear me. It's not failure. That I just described is fatigue. And this is where contentment keeps finding me lately. Not as a personality trait and not as a goal to achieve, but more like a posture, a contentment posture. And listen, when I say that, I'm not throwing contentment around like it's a trophy, okay? It's not a goal to achieve. It's not a hill to conquer. It doesn't need a witness or proof. It meets me and it meets you where we already are. And rhythm, real rhythm, isn't about adding better habits or tighter plans, in my opinion. It's about choosing a way of living that doesn't ask me to abandon myself to keep up. If I have to abandon myself to keep up with the rhythm that I have set for myself, then what am I doing? Like, literally, what are we doing? A rhythm that lets our body breathe, that gives our soul time to catch up, that leaves space for God to speak without shouting over the noise. That's what I am leaning intentionally into. This year, I can tell you right now, I am not trying to become someone new. I am not. I am trying to live more honestly as who I already am. And if you want my honest opinion, I think you would benefit from that too. And honestly, it feels quieter than I expected. It feels less dramatic, and I feel more grounded, which brings me to the breath. Okay. We're mid episode right now. So we're going to take a breath. I feel like I need to take a breath. Like, la, 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 la. I've just been going, going, going. So take a breath with me for a second. Okay. We're going to do a slow inhale and an easy exhale. Every new year carries this quiet pressure, like crazy pressure. I don't even know if I should call it quiet, doesn't it? Like it just carries this crazy pressure. New year, new habits, new goals. And somewhere in there, the subtle suggestion that a new you has been required, we are leaving that behind today. If I've said anything that you have listened to, I want you to know a new you is not required for a new year. And I've been sitting here with this question lately, like a lot. What if the new year isn't asking you to become someone else at all? What if you don't even need a new rhythm? What if your old rhythm from last year is working great and God's just taking you in to a new season? What if the rhythm that you did last year is not working at all? And the one that you planned for this year is not what God had for you. And He's showing you a whole completely different rhythm and plan. It doesn't mean it. There has to be a new you, right? It's just a new season that we're walking into confidently being who we already are. Because scripture tells us something completely different of becoming someone new after we've been created new in Him, right? Like you've been born again. You're a child of God. Jesus is in your heart. You've been saved. You know that He died. He resurrected on the third day, and His blood is the atonement and it covers our sin. You have been a born again Christian. That's the new you that you are, right? So when God created us, He didn't call it a draft, right? He didn't call us a work in progress that needed fixing. He called it good. He called it good when He created us as people. And then we lived in sin and a broken world, and we were saved and born again. And the new us has been created in Him. And guess what? It has been called good. Maybe we're not finished. We're a work that keeps on going, right? We're not flawless, but we're good. And He calls it good. So when I talk about a new rhythm this year, I just want you to know I am not talking about scrapping who you are or treating your life like it's a problem to solve. Have I said that enough? You are not a problem to solve. I'm talking about care and about stewardship and about becoming a healthier without believing you were ever a mistake version of you. That version of you is the only better version of you that you need, is the one to know that you are not a mistake. You were created on purpose, with a purpose, And that's exactly who you are. Is that not wild when you think about it that way? Like, seriously, I I don't know. I don't know if I've ever walked into a year where I have truly considered that I just wanted to achieve a posture and not a personality trait or a new personality, if that makes any sense. So, you don't have to fix anything and you don't have to rush. So, what I want you to do is inhale gently right now through your nose, counting to 4, and exhale through your mouth, counting to 6. And when you inhale and hold it to 4, say you don't have to fix anything. And when you exhale for 6, you don't have to rush. And the reason that we exhale longer is because that tells our parasympathetic nervous system that we are being regulated, that we are safe here. Our cortisol lowers, our heart rate lowers, our blood pressure will lower because we're safe here. And if your shoulders even softened a fraction when we said that, that's enough. Not perfection, just presence. Now, I'm going to tell you what I said. I have claimed this year for contentment and claimed January as gentle January. And I'm going to tell you this: gentleness is not weakness. Okay. It's actually his gentleness that made him great. And he is in us and he makes us great. But anyway, choosing a slower rhythm does not mean opting out of courage. It means choosing a courage that doesn't shout. Your courage doesn't have to be loud for you to be brave. You can be soft and brave. You can be courageous and steady and still be choosing to be gentle this January, because it's not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It's about noticing what actually sustains you. So that's what I want you to hear. I'm not telling you to do less or be less, or like I said, it's not to be passive, it's not to be lazy, it's to be none of those things. It is just about noticing what actually sustains you, which rhythms help your body exhale and which rhythms have been draining you. Because the ones that drain us, if it's something we're carrying out of obligation and not out of obedience, it was never ours to carry. And we're going to let those down, right? We're going to let those go this year. We are going to let those go this year. So, these 2 questions. If you're taking notes, I want you to write it down. If you're not, I just want you to think about them in your head. Think about them as you're driving. Think about them as you're just in your mundane, in the ordinary, in the quiet, in the busy, wherever you find yourself. Which rhythms help your body exhale and which ones quietly drain you? Because those 2 questions are holy questions. They don't need rushed answers. You truly need to think about those. So maybe this year doesn't need reinvention, just needs some attention, right? Attention to our bodies, attention to our limits, and attention to the life already in our hands. Because we're not behind, we're becoming. Not perfection, just presence. Like, is that not the wildest thing to think about? Is we can be content as a posture, and it's allowed. And it's allowed to take us exactly the way we are. So, with that said, a new rhythm does not require a new identity. It's just asking us to tend to what's already alive and to heal what's been wounded and to strengthen what's true. We're not reinventing, but let's return to who He's created us to be, returning to presence instead of performance. We're returning to a pace that doesn't punish our bodies or rush our souls. And we're returning to a faith that feels honest again without performance. So if you're listening to me and you really feel behind already, if you're already tired 9 days in, if you're already wondering if you're enough, if you're doing enough, if you've been doing enough, if you're planning enough, if what you think is enough, I just want to say this out loud. And I want you to hear this. I've said it. And I'm going to say it again. You are not a problem to fix. You are a person to be cared for. we're going to welcome ourselves into January, gentle January, and let's find a new rhythm together without losing ourselves in the process. I'm thinking, okay, not being weird. We're not going to be weird or anything, but I think that let's do another breath prayer before we even move on to the conclusion of this podcast. So we're going to pause together for a moment. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to fix your posture. You don't even have to close your eyes. I just want you to notice your breath as it is. And like I said, we're not being weird doing this again. Not being weird. We're not being weird here. Now, okay, so if it feels okay, I just want you to slow down for just a little and inhale gently through your nose and count to 4 again. And exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 6. And this time, as you inhale, you might say something quietly like, God, you are near. And as you exhale, you can say something like, I don't have to rush. Just make sure the exhale is a little longer. And if you don't do it right now, you can do it later since we just did a breath prayer and you're probably sitting there thinking like, "What, girl? Like, what are you doing?" But I just got to think about that. I wanted us to add that in there. So if you do it now, that's absolutely perfecto. And if you don't, do it later. But that's your body's way when you let that exhale be a little longer of realizing it's safe to soften. So by us saying that we don't want to lose ourselves in the process, let these be a part of your healthy rhythm and a part of your process. Okay. Because this is where we start taking care of us and our rest and our sleep and being content and being obedient and not out of obligation and noticing what our body's saying. It is good for us to notice the cues. If our body's telling us telling our tired. If it's telling us we're tired, we're tired, and that's okay. If it's telling us we're hungry, and that's okay. If you're thirsty, if you have to go to the bathroom, whatever our body's telling us, we need to listen to our body for those cues. And you can return back to that at any time. And there's no rush to do a breath prayer or there's no rhyme or reason, certain time of the day. You can wake up with one in the morning. You can go to bed with one at night. You can do it throughout the day. If it gives you peace and calms you, I actually will even put on a little piece or lavender essential oil when I say mine. And if I'm home and have like a whole routine, I'll even light a candle. But it's just about noticing and it's about bringing us back to where we are in the present and not about rushing ahead, right? Because that's what I don't want us to do is think about how quickly we have to move into our fixing mode because it's January and fix our bodies, right? We hear enough of that every day, all day. Fix the body, fix our habits, fix our mindset, fix our faith, fix. And listen, growth matters, okay? Healing matters, change matters. All of those things matter. So I want you to hear me. Don't hear bits and pieces of me. Like this is one of those episodes you have to listen to everything I'm saying all together because there's a difference between growth that comes from care and growth that comes from pressure, right? And yes, we're going to experience pressure. We're going to go through things. We're going to go through the fire. That's still growth that comes from care because it's tending to ourselves to what we need in those moments. Because a lot of us aren't even trying to become better because we're excited about it. We're trying to become better because we're afraid we're falling behind because everybody else looks like they're doing something better. So all of a sudden, well, I need to be doing something better, right? And that fear has snuck into our rhythms. I'm afraid that it sneaks into our rhythms. We're waking up braced. We're already waking up before we even wake up. Some of you are having panic attacks while you're asleep and you have no idea what's going on. And you're waking up and your heart's racing and you are feeling numb and dizzy and tingling and tired. And you're trying to figure out what's going on. And it's because you are in that constant rhythm, that urgency, that preparation that you're carrying like armor, like busyness around your neck, like a badge of honor. Like, listen, I've got cuter beads to wear around my neck than busyness. Okay. Preparation is not wrong. But when that preparation is carrying us instead of something we offer, our soul is feeling it. And we're not just tired where a nap can fix. We are soul tired, right? It's fatigue. And with that, just like we were talking about contentment earlier, I used to think like especially when God gave me this word for 2026 and he gave me the word contentment. I'm not going to lie to you. I wrestled with him at first because I was like, wait a minute, I love things. Okay. If you know me, you know that. And if you didn't know me like that, you know me like that. If we just met, let me reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm Brandy. I like things. My family will tell you I like things. And so this is that, but not that. Okay. It is some of that, but it's not all that, I guess. It's not about wanting less. That's not exactly what I'm talking about, or lowering our expectations or settling. I just want you to know, just like with anything else I said, we're moving in an honest pace, and I want your contentment just to feel more like honesty to yourself. Okay. Contentment doesn't ask you to shrink. It doesn't ask me to shrink, but it asks us to stop fighting the reality of where we are. That's the kind of contentment that I'm talking about. The contentment not to rush me toward the next version of myself. The contentment is where I stay with me in this one. Okay. I notice my breath. I notice where I am. I notice where my feet are planted. I notice the things my body are telling me, right? So contentment isn't a trophy. It's not like we're not earning it because we're doing it by doing our life correctly, because we're never going to do our life correctly, right? I mean, we're going to keep trying and we do our best, but it's never going to be perfect because we're not. But it's received, and it's received right here. And in that receiving, that takes courage too, right? Because it means that we're agreeing to let go of the illusion. Dun, dun, dun. Like I should have done a drum roll right there. The illusion of control. I hate to tell you this. If you feel like you're in control of everything, don't wreck your car. Like, don't like poke your mascara wand in your eye or like burn your noodles. But I have to tell you right now that you are not in control. And that is an illusion. Okay, now that I said that, it means trusting that God is still at work even when nothing else feels urgent. Okay. Not perfection, just presence. Gentleness is not weakness. We're going to keep saying that. We're choosing a slower rhythm. Okay. Not because we're not courageous. Okay. We're just staying present in our ordinary day, our ordinary life, and in our ordinary faith. The one that lies, well, let me say this. Let me say it this way. It's one of the lies we absorb this time of year is that everything has to look impressive. Okay. That's what I'm trying to break down right now. If it looks impressive, thank you, Jesus. If it doesn't look impressive, thank you, Jesus. It doesn't have to be loud. Nobody else has to see your production, and you don't have to look productive to anybody else for you to be doing exactly what God has called you to do in this season. Okay. Because scripture tells us a quieter story than that. God meets people in the stillness. He meets us in the ordinary days. He meets us in the long stretches where nothing flashy happens. He meets us where our faith looks like staying. He meets us where our faith looks like listening. He meets us where our faith looks like trusting that nothing is wasted just because it's at a slower pace than that girl next door. This year, we are not asking how we can become someone new. I've repeated that so many times. You're going to get that down before we're done talking, before we're done chatting today. And you're going to be like, girl, I got it. I just want to live honestly as who I am. That's what I want you to say, because that has been changing my pace. I have noticed it in my heart rate. I have noticed it in the stillness. I have noticed it in my sleep. So maybe this year we're not reinventing. We're just giving attention to our body, our limits, what's already in our hands. We've said we're not having to catch up. We don't have to keep up. We're not behind. And if you're feeling a mix of hope and fear right now, that's okay. Soft and strong can coexist. So can courage and uncertainty, because it's not perfection. It's just our presence. So, with that, another thing that I want to tell you today. This is kind of a big one for me, but this is a change. It's a soft change. Well, it may not even be a soft change. It's a steady care for me, and I'm sharing something personal with you all right now, but because this is my new year and I started this in 2025, so this isn't new to 2026, but it was new to the end of 2025. So I want to share something personal, and this is not as a prescription, okay? And it's not as a fix. And I want to preface what I'm about to say with that, but as a snapshot of what caring for my body has looked like in this season, just in case you want to say, like, well, what does your rhythm look like? Like, you're telling us all these things to like look for and listen to, like, what does it look like for you? And so, me naming the fruit without making it the point, okay? I started doing Row, which is an online weight loss management in 2025. So I started that in it was either the end of November or the beginning of December. I would have to look at my calendar, but I started doing Row and I am down 16.4 pounds. And honestly, like, I shouldn't have even probably said that now. I wish I could take it back. I guess I could edit it out, but I'm not. So it's not the number that's the headline, it's the steadiness. And it tells the story to you of how I'm caring for myself and not like selling what I need to be doing as far as weight loss is concerned. Okay. I had a hysterectomy in 2016, I think. And I have been in menopause, you gal. That's like, I wasn't really going crazy when maybe everybody else thought I was. Maybe I thought I was, but when I was having the hot flashes and all the things that came with it, I was not going crazy. I was in menopause. And then I had this hip. Um, Injury, and I have not been able to be as active and had gained a substantial amount of weight. I don't even want to tell the number because the numbers really don't matter. But this season is about me tending to my body like it belongs to someone I love. I am not treating her like she's failing me anymore. I'm not abusing her. I'm not being bad to her. She has carried me through so many seasons of depth, of goodness, of hard times, of good times, of joy, of sorrow, of sadness, of all the things in between. And she has been so good to me to carry three children and to nurture them and to love my grandbabies and to carry me through life. And so I want you to know that I'm not saying anything bad about this body because I truly am learning to love her. And that's new for me. And if that's new for you, my prayer for you is that you can adopt that too, because that and how we talk to ourselves and how gentle we are to ourselves, and if we can give everybody else grace around us, we need to be able to give grace to ourselves, right? So this list is like a rhythm, not a regimen, okay? But I have been working on my weight, so I have been eating healthier. My plate is more colorful, it's more fruitful. I am enjoying fruits and vegetables that I probably never loved before. I grew up in a home that we didn't have a lot of money, so like fruits and vegetables to me, maybe my Fruit Loops were fruits. I'm just being honest. We did have apples sometimes though, but anyway, and raisins in our cereal, but my vegetables were starches. So I have been noticing in my gentle January care for me rhythm. Okay. I've been working on supporting my weight with healthier foods. Okay, that's one thing. And I am taking this it's called Zepbound injection, and I am working on supporting my circulation and recovery with a vibration plate. So I have started incorporating a vibration plate, using red light therapy as an add-on. And like I said, I'm eating in ways that feel nourishing to me. I think that's what I was going to say. The best way to describe that, not restrictive, even on a calorie deficit. I'm not restricted because I don't know if you try to get in enough protein in a day, but if you try to eat enough protein in a day, then you know you don't feel restricted at all. It's like, can I ever eat enough to keep up with this? But I'm tracking my sleep and recovery with an Aura ring. So I am falling asleep and waking up with my Hatch Restore. I'm using a vibration plate. I'm wearing my Aura ring, letting my nervous system settle at night with my Hatch Restore. What else? Like small things that matter to me more than I would like to admit. But my silk sleep mask and my silk pillowcase, I'm going to tell you that my silk sleep mask. I've never worn one and I thought I was gonna hate it. And she's protects my eyelashes too, because that's an investment that I make. But that's beside the point. She's also helping me with wrinkles in my skin and things like that. But helping it stay darker in my room and just like allowing me to get into that rhythm. And so I absolutely love that. And lavender peace essential oil, I use that and I also like spray it on my pillow. But um and taking a long view by waiting on a functional medicine appointment. Okay, so that is another thing is I'm doing functional medicine instead of rushing answers for like what's wrong with me or what my body's doing. So I'm still going to my regular doctor, my primary care, my regular doctors, but I've also added functional medicine in. Um, as a provider, I love traditional and holistic medicine. So none of this is about shrinking myself, but I wanted to let you all know, like, that is some of my rhythm. That's some of the things that I've been doing because it's about listening, and I am listening to my body. I wanna feel safe enough to respond, and I wanna name bravery without being hype because being brave hasn't looked loud for me, okay? I still feel like I'm being soft and strong, brave and steady, and it's just looking like consistency, and it's working on being content and contentment and being steady enough to keep choosing care when nobody's clapping for me. And that's okay. So, if your journey right now is rest instead of change, I want you to honor that because that's brave too. And if it's change and not full blown rest right now, that's okay too. If your body's functioning in that, that's a good place for you to be. This is not a template, okay? It's just my story. And that's why I wanted to share it, just so that you would kind of see, kind of be able to just tie into the things that I've been talking about. Because it's not about doing more, it's just about responding with care, okay? So for me, right now, care looks like better sleep, gentle support tools, intentional nourishment, and the patience to wait for deeper answers. Nothing extreme, just steady, just steadiness, because I'm choosing steady care over urgency. Okay. And so that is what this has been about. And that's kind of what I wanted you to know as far as what gentle January looks like is just more of a steady care. Steady does it, like easy does it, right? So if it looks like that for you too, that's amazing. If it looks like you need some of those tools too, I'm going to put those in the show notes today. And I'm also going to write about them. You'll be able to access that after you've listened to the podcast or right in the middle. Um, but yeah, I that's what I wanted you to know. That's what Gentle January is. And we're going to kind of go into a series of that because I think it's so important to listen to our bodies, to honor our rest, to make small changes that don't demand perfection. And listen, me being down 16.4. I don't want to say 17 because it's not, and I don't want to say 16. So I said it's not about the numbers, but okay, like I am kind of excited because I have not been able to lose weight. That was the whole reason that my doctor finally decided that we needed to add this. We added estrogen for my hormones. We've done things like that, and it just wasn't all working on its own. And so this, and since 2019, this has been the first time that I've been able to lose weight at all, to be healthier in my body. And it's about feeling better, not about honestly like looking better. And I know that probably sounds silly, but it's true for me. I just wanted to feel better and I needed to incorporate these things for my body and my mind and my soul to feel better. Because brave choices for me, they have a way of adding up when we stop rushing what needs time. So I want you to hear me when I say this is not about adding more or overhauling everything. We're just choosing what actually supports our bodies. Care looks like paying closer attention, right? Instead of forcing outcomes. We're not chasing numbers, we're not fixing, we're just listening. And those are the tools that have been helping me. And I'm going to say them again. So, my Aura Ring to notice sleep and recovery. The Hatch Restore 3 helps my nervous system. It's helping me unwind at night. My sleep mask and pillowcase are helping me feel rested and inviting. Like my bed just feels amazing. Which I have a wool mattress topper and down comforter that also helps that. And I keep my bedroom like cool and dark, like 65 whopping degrees. And I have an air purifier by my bed. and I play like sound noise on my hatch. So it's very cool in here and very noisy if you like that sort of thing. The gentle red light therapy, I'm using that. I'm absolutely loving it on my face and my body. So I'm using both. We also have gotten a sauna and a cold plunge and doing our vibration plates. So we are doing all the things over here and eating in ways that feel nourishing and prioritizing protein, even though that's not easy. So all that is like my gentle January rhythm. And like I said, I want to say this clearly. I wanted you to hear me clearly. This is my story. It's not a template. And your care can look completely different, and that does not make it look less faithful. Honoring where your body is right now is brave. So I just wanted you to know this week's Friday Fave finds. I want you to think of these as a list of like, it's not a checklist or it shouldn't be a checklist, but just as a glimpse into what's been supporting my rhythm lately. And that's what it was. Nothing extreme, nothing steady. Um, so before we close, I just want to tell you that as this season unfolds, I'm sharing more this season on Substack. I will be writing on Substack on Tuesdays and on Fridays. So on Tuesday, it'll go with our Eighth and Grace episode. On Fridays, with our What About This episode. I'm also starting a newsletter that is new today. You can subscribe to that. It's called Grace Notes. And every week on Friday, I'll be sending you a grace note. You can think of that like as a love letter from me. And it'll have a devotional in it. It'll have some good lists and rhythms and gentle things for you to do just to keep going in this season and help you not tire out. And it'll also have our Friday. Every Friday, I'll give you my fave finds. So, um, the podcast and the Substack and the Grace Notes and Instagram. It'll all go together. It'll all just be one big, like, coherent, cohesive thing. And this podcast, this is just one piece of the rhythm. So if you want a gentler, steadier place to land during the week, I can send you out grace notes. They're just short emails. Think of it as a little love letter. It'll have the reflections, breath prayers, and invitations to help you and your body and your soul settle. Nothing overwhelming at all, just enough because I write too much on Instagram. That's kind of why I started doing this. And then on Substack, I'm writing longer pieces, like the one this episode grew out of, actually. Space to slow down, to read without rushing, to sit with words instead of scrolling past them. So on Instagram, I will stop sharing as much and share more on Substack. And that will also, those will be pieces written on my blog, on my website, so that you can find them there. So today's, you'll have a Substack which is Musings of Grace, and you'll also have a gentle January guide and a gentle January sleep guide, and Friday Fave Finds. That'll all be part of that if you want to be on Substack or on the newsletter. And on Instagram, still, you'll find me every day in the everyday moments, everyday life reminders, pauses, lived in faith, reels, stories, prompts you can come back to when you need grounding. It's all just one rhythm. I just said all that lengthy, wordy, breathy stuff to say. It's just they're all connected, one rhythm, different doorways. And you don't have to do all of them. Just do what feels supportive right now. And if none of them do, hey, that's fine too. But I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can be there with me. You're always welcome. You're welcome to show up in my DMs. You're welcome to message me. I love chatting with you way more than you ever know. And I think that's it. Like, I think I've been here with you a whole hour. And so I just want you to know, let's step into this year with permission, right? You don't need permission from me. You need permission from yourself to move at a pace that lets you breathe. We're going to choose rhythms that care for our bodies. We're going to trust God in quiet places. We're going to notice grace already showing up in ordinary moments. We're going to trust that we don't have to curate our life to be faithful. We don't have to look like everyone else. We have permission to rest. We don't have to have it all figured out. And let's walk this year slowly, with intention, with contentment, not because we're perfect, but because we are present. We are present every day, every single day. We are going to be present in whatever it is that we choose to do. So, if this episode made you exhale more gently, if you feel like, wow, you talked a lot, or yeah, that was a ramble, or man, I need to share this with my sister. Please feel free to share these episodes. You have no idea how much you sharing these episodes helps us reach our friends that need to be here on this journey with us. And the best way that you can show us love that is absolutely free to you, other than your time, and your time is so precious, takes about 5 seconds. If you could please leave a review on Apple or Spotify or both, your 5 stars help me continue to carry this good gospel for us to live on mission for the kingdom and to steward our bodies and to do the things that we do well and add more friends that grow with us every day by you reviewing, leaving your stars and commenting. That's how our show gets pushed out to more listeners. Know that you can always catch up with me on Instagram, slide up in my DMs, email me. I think my cell phone's even on there. I probably shouldn't say that, like, unless you really want to chat, but I don't like to call. I like to voice thread. We can do that. We're friendsies. We can chat. And until next time, I want you to know that you are doing amazing right here, right where you are, even here, even now. I love you all. Bye.